On today's podcast, we are going to be diving into Dr. Poe's physical fitness regimen. It used to be when Tiger Woods was back in the day, and maybe he still does this, or maybe people don't like him. I don't know. But his physical fitness routine, his weightlifting routine was very secretive. And I'm sure a lot of you guys would like to know what Dr. Poe does for more on the working out side, not necessarily food. But why don't you walk us through your physical regimen and a little bit why?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to go first. Personally, I usually wake up usually around like 6:30 or so, and my routine will vary from day to day. Nowadays, Monday, I'll usually do a swim in the pool. Tuesdays, an easy run. But by easy run, something like 5, 6 miles. And I realize that
Oh.
to non-runners, like a quote unquote easy run of 5 to 6 miles might sound a bit.
But yeah, real quick, how much you weigh? What are your kind of your numbers? And then maybe your for people that don't know, Poe's more of an endurance athlete. But what are some of your benchmark, like your 1 mile pace, stuff like that, just to give people a sense?
So let's see. Haven't run a full out mile in a while, but a few like
Too short.
last time I did an all out mile was I think 2019. I managed to squeak under 5 minutes.
Holy jeez.
I don't think I could do that now. Yeah,
What do you what
I'd probably
pace do you
struggle.
keep in like a 5K then? Like a 7 minute 30-second mile or something?
Over 5K, probably right now low sixes, but I was a bit faster a few years ago.
But you're not
Um,
23 anymore.
Yeah, no, if it's once I turned 40, man, everything just slowed down, but things were looking great. When I was 39, I did a 5K in I think 17 minutes and 20 seconds, and that comes to like mid or high fives. That seems like like a previous life. And then let's see, 2 years ago, I think one of my highlights was did a marathon in under 3 hours. I want to say 6:20 or 6 something like that, but yeah, but then I turned 40 and then things gradually slowed down.
What do you bench? That's more important. What do you bench? Like,
Oh, you don't wanna know.
we need to know. This is
I actually don't know. Yeah.
good answer. That's like my marathon time.
I don't know, but I will say that, after turning 40, I realized, like, the importance of diversifying your activities, and nowadays, I do strength training as well, and instead of just doing, like, a lot of endurance stuff, I'm realizing that, hey, my body's changing and weightlifting is actually pretty important, right? I'm not saying that's all you should do, but as we get older, our testosterone levels go down, our muscle mass goes down, right? And we have to start thinking about our overall health, right? We gotta start thinking about our bone density, right? And just overall longevity, right? Instead of focusing on one sport and performing really well, because it's a lot more than that, right? And that's something evolved over these past few years, right? A few years ago, I was very focused on performance. I was very focused on gunning for a fast marathon time, a fast half marathon time, hitting these paces and running a lot of miles a week. Right? Strength training was really something that was just supplementary, more for injury prevention. Right? But nowadays, I do a lot more varied activities, whether it's swimming, tennis, skiing in the wintertime, along with the running. Right? So my mileage has gone down, but I'm doing a lot of other things too, and also putting on some more muscle as well.
So
Yeah.
Monday you swam, Tuesday you run.
Yeah. And
That's
then
Monday, Thursday,
Wednesday,
Friday.
yeah, Wednesday, I drive out into Vancouver and I train with a running team there. They're called Vanguard Athletics Club. So I'm gonna give them a shout out. But that's where I actually pretty hard a running workout, right? Like where we'll be doing some sort of like interval work. And I find there's a lot of benefit to training with a team, to having a coach, and just you just get pushed in ways that it's really hard to do on your own. Right? A lot of benefits of being on a team. You're pushing each other, and hey, you got that nice camaraderie of being with people who understand what you're going through.
And that's you don't work a traditional job anymore. So that's how you consciously bring in people. We're all social creatures at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
And in fact, that is one of the really nice benefits of it is that I love everyone on the team. Like we're all friends and we just catch up on life as we're doing our warm ups and our cool downs. Right? And then we're helping to push each other on whether we're running on the track or on the roads. It's a really nice thing.
How long do you guys run for? What's the distance you guys cover?
I guess for like competitive runners, you might have this like midweek workout that I'm talking about. So for me, like your mileage might only be, let's say 10 miles, right? But a good chunk of that is some sort of interval work, right? So whether that's something called your like if you're training for a 5K, like you would train at something called like your VO2 max, right? You're pretty much like redlining it from the start, right? Like you're really working to breathe. So there may be like longer, slower intervals, but you're still working hard, right? So this might be like 10K effort or half marathon effort, right? Or something in between, which is called like lactate threshold, right? Which is basically the equivalent of the pace that you would run for a 1 hour like all out effort. That's like the definition of like lactate threshold. So depending on what our coach has us work on or what our goal race is, then your workout will be determined by or what you're working towards. Again, if your goal race is a 5K, then you probably do more like VO2 max intervals, maybe sprinkle in some shorter, faster stuff like to build that leg turnover. And then weekend, you might do a longer run that builds up your aerobic capacity because even for a 5K, even though it's very intense, most of your energy system is still revolved around the aerobic system, right? And that is mainly built up by what we call like long, slow distance. Easy
LSD is bad.
LSD,
Yeah,
exactly. LSD,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. Conversational pace. Yeah.
There's a website out there. I don't know what it is because I don't run and I never bothered to bookmark the damn
Yeah.
thing. But there's if you're gonna run like a 10K or a half marathon, like you put in your numbers and it spit out recommended, and you had 3
Mhm.
months to train. Do you have that off the top of the head, or you have any good recommendations for something like that?
My coach has it off the top of his head. I used to coach high school cross country when I was back in New York. I had an idea, but even then, I would use an app, right? And the app I think I used was it's called McMillan. Greg McMillan is a famous run coach, and he has this table of pace equivalents. For example, if your 5K time is this, then this is what you can expect to reasonably train for if you're training for a 10K. If your 10K time is this, then these are the paces you should be training for a half marathon or a marathon. Those are very handy, and you can download those or you can look them up. But the one that I remember using was by Greg McMillan.
A lot of the nice thing about this stuff, this physical fitness stuff, there's like on the weightlifting side, there's like a
Mm,
book starting strength, and they have the same type of some dude made a Google sheet on it, I'm sure.
yeah.
And you just input where you are, and it takes you through a pretty calculated program.
Mm.
And there's like percentages off your 1 rep max. But yeah, so we're at Thursday, Friday.
Say
Any
Thursday, yeah, Thursdays nowadays yeah, that's my day I'll go back into the pool again. Yeah, for those of you listening, I only learned how to swim freestyle last year. So this is like a relatively new endeavor for me. I'm embarrassingly slow in the water, but I'm really embracing this beginner's
trying to be an
mindset.
Iron Man, right?
Oh, I don't know about that, but it's good exercise. It's just funny to see how I can be so comfortable on the roads, but you take a lot of runners and you put them into the water, and we just get gassed like right away, and then vice versa. Right? A lot of swimmers, amazing swimmers, like you ask them to go run a 5K, and they hate it. So I recently, actually, just this week, I found a master's swimming club and I just joined it and got my first taste of an actual swim workout. Whereas before, I was just winging it in the pool and,
Yeah,
you know,
got your podcast in your ear.
and I just do my own thing. And this was the other night. That was the first time. There was a coach there, and he had all these things written down. This is like your warm up. This is your workout. I don't know for some reason he had the words like pain cave on there. What is this? But yeah, oh my gosh, I was done after the warm up. I looked at the warm up, like, oh my God, this is as much as I usually swim in the pool. But it was super hard, but met some great people. And I think I'm going to keep going with them because just with my experience with having a coach and being part of a running team, I know how useful that is because when you're by yourself, you just can't push yourself. It's really hard to push yourself. Whereas if you're in the lane with other swimmers, then it's that extra motivation that really helps. I'm actually this is something I'm really looking forward to, even though it's very difficult for me and it really pushes me outside of my comfort zone. I think one reason that I'm really embracing this is because I think it's important to do things that we're not good at, right? Do things that are hard, right? Because at least we get to choose this challenge. We get to choose that adversity because at some point in life, something's going to happen to us. And so I think if we have experience like trying new things, doing things that are hard, like overcoming obstacles, like persevering, it just helps with so many other aspects of life. Right. And I think you feel the same way too.
I have my angst against the whole Apple close your rings, get your 5,000 steps. That's if it's hard for you, cool. But for a good portion of people, that's pedestrian and you need to
Right.
push it. But time wise, so your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday workouts, and then you go back in the water. Like, how long are these things normally take you? Just to give people an idea. And obviously, we now know that you are hanging out with a bunch of people and bullshitting a good amount of time. So don't count that. Like, how
Yeah.
much are you like hard time? Like, lifting weights or swimming and running time-wise?
So the swimming workouts, these are 1 hour. Yeah, which is actually quite a bit longer than what I've been swimming before. So before I would go to the pool and I had 30 minutes of swimming, and usually I'm pretty gassed because I'm a pretty terrible swimmer, right? But now my standard has like just been raised, and now it gotta last an hour, right? And these involve intervals and drills and whatnot. So it's gonna, yeah, this is a major step up for me. So that's an hour. And then I realized, yeah, we're bullshitting for an hour in the hot tub and the sauna afterwards. And that's kind of part of the fun. For the running, for like the Wednesday or the track or road workouts, that's 2 hours, maybe like an hour and a half of it is actually actual running. And then that could be easily like 3 hours.
Yeah,
Right.
and you throw back some Michelob Ultras
Oh
to
yeah.
be out for 4
Yeah.
hours,
Oh yeah,
right?
totally. Best recovery drink right there.
Yeah.
Sure. Joking. But
So I think the thing that's probably coming up in people's head is like, dude, when does this guy actually hang out with his family? You got a unique situation. You don't work a traditional job, but
yeah,
I mean, what time of the day are you fitting this in? It's not.
entirely do these either early morning or after the kids have gone to school.
So there's
Yeah.
a running club in the daytime then.
There is a morning session and a night session, and I usually do the morning session.
Are these guys like entrepreneurs or higher? Like, what's their story? Like independently wealthy or?
It's Canada. It's the North Pacific Northwest. It's a lot more like laid back vibe, but that's a good question. So a couple of the folks in our group, they actually happen to be physicians, right? But they work shifts. Right? So we have a couple of anesthesiologists on our team, and sometimes the shift doesn't start until later on the day. They just might work until the night, or they might have an overnight shift, in which case then they're free in the morning to join us. Right? We got a couple folks who do research at the university, or they're in a PhD program. So they have some flexibility, right? There's no one saying you have to clock in at a certain time and clock out at a certain time. And then we got a couple of freelancers and entrepreneurs. And then we also have one professional runner represented Canada at the last Olympics. Her schedule is a bit different, but she might be doing like a couple workouts in a day. It's a very different situation. Right? She might have a couple workouts. She might have an appointment with a physiotherapist, a massage therapist in the middle of the day because this is you got to treat it like a job, right? When you're a professional, like yeah,
Uses you guys to like stretch and run with these chumps. Like,
yeah. I wouldn't say that. Most of us don't run with her. We just happen to be running on the same track or the same
yeah,
vicinity as her. Yeah, but
yeah.
pretty amazing to see her do her thing. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
And but that gets to you.
We're all human at the end of the day, right? Even Olympians, right? And they have their good days and their bad days. They have great workouts. They have not so great workouts. And yeah, it's nice to be able to be there and cheer each other on, right? Even though we're at different levels, but in a way, we're like family to each other, right? We're always supporting each other, cheering each other on, and that's really nice because when it's not just about you and it's about like supporting other people, then it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's like getting that sense of community in
Right.
there. And the takeaway I have is like you're getting this all done in the middle of the day. Oftentimes for people with families, after the workday can often be more busy with
Mm.
more constraints in there. But yeah, why don't you round out the week for us? I mean, what else?
Yeah, so I'll usually probably do like another 5, 6 mile run on, let's say, Friday. I call these like easy runs because they're really meant to be a conversational pace. And this is where I might go out and run with my dog, right? Go on the trails, just enjoy nature, just spend time with my dog, but not really push myself. It's still considered type of like active recovery, right? Like hard every day, right? And I'll do a long run of some sort on the weekends. Probably if my coach is being nice to me, he might just give me like 10 miles. But if I'm in the middle of training for like a marathon or like an ultra, it could easily be 18, 20 or more miles, which could really 2.5, 3 hours, and usually pretty tired at the end of that. Yeah.
So a 3-day on, 1 day off on the weekdays, and the weekends are a little you got one hard one, but it's maybe a one-to-one
Yeah.
rest work.
And then also throw in some strength training as well. So, that's usually something I do with my wife. And again, we usually try to do this before the kids are up. But we do a program by a woman called Caroline. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. She's got an app and she's got her own program. She's from Ireland, I believe. And so she does a lot of, she's got like, a lot of, she's got her own app and just a lot of like different like videos on like on strength training that doesn't require a lot of equipment. Okay, so a lot of like free weights or body weights, maybe a barbell, right? But a lot of these like you can do with just like free weights with like a simple home gym setup. And it's something that my wife and I we do together. So one of the things that we do to spend time together.
This
Yeah.
girl's yoked, man. Probably.
She's pretty ripped.
Yeah, she'd probably
Yeah.
kick your ass, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Most of our classes.
But this is done through an app then.
It's done through
Yeah.
now, yeah, and then we'll just cast it onto a bigger screen, and it's something that my wife and I do together. Yeah, she does a lot more of these, whereas I'll probably jump in for an upper body workout, right? Shoulders or arms, because I figured I'm already working pretty hard on my legs for most days, and when I give my legs a chance to recover, yeah. So these days I usually work out. It's like more upper body or core. Also, I'll still do some leg stuff, but not as much as the upper body stuff nowadays.
And do you consciously try to do anything, like, physical with the kids, like hiking or not really?
Yeah, we if we can on the weekends, like if they don't have a swim meet or if they have a day off, then yeah, we like to go hiking. Right? Go because the trails here in BC are pretty amazing. The weather's on the whole pretty mild, so great for hiking. Lots of trails and bring the dog out.
Yeah.
But that's assuming they don't have a swim meet going on, which is more and more the case nowadays. So my kids can, even my 8-year-old daughter, like she would kick my ass in the water.
Yeah.
So they're part of a team, and it just shows how beneficial that is, right? To have coaches and like people that they can train with. But yeah, my 8-year-old daughter, she would beat me in the pool, like at any distance. So just pretty funny, but pretty cool.
Yeah. Anything other things? These are all routine to you, so it's tough to go down the routine, but any other kind of unique takeaways or things you'll do for the folks? I guess one thing I've taken from this is figure out what the modality you do and go find a group that does it and find
Yeah,
and get that accountability there and
yeah.
community.
Sometimes we'll go play some tennis. If the weather's not nice outside. Lately, I've started trying badminton. I like to try like different stuff, even if I'm going to be pretty terrible at it from the get go. But I think it's always good to like, challenge yourself, muscles, and your nerves in different ways. Because as someone with a background as a neurologist, know how beneficial it is to do different things and try new things. It's great for the brain and also the body. Being here in BC, they're also like really close to great skiing and all these outdoor sports. So in the winter time, we'll take the kids up to Whistler or like another ski resort and just hit the slopes or do some cross country skiing as well. So I think it's good to try new things and
It's an
even
element of play, doing
yeah,
things because I feel like you're very regimented with the running, swimming, and maybe somewhat the weights. Whereas it's nice to do something where there's no like outcome based
yeah,
thing at the end.
absolutely. And I think that's one way I would say I've matured over the past few years. So I would say up through 2019, I was very much about like performance. I was very motivated by intrinsic goals, right? My goal was first it was like, oh, I want to crack 4 hours in the marathon. And then it was, okay, I want to crack 3:30. And then and then, okay, I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And eventually cracked that. And then I was like, oh, I want to get under 3 hours. And then I cracked that. But then I realized, oh, wow, this is like one of those instances where I think similar to a lot of us investors, right, or those of us who are conscious about saving money, it's once you hit this benchmark, you always want to get to the next level, right? You start to compare yourself to people around your level or those slightly ahead of you, right? And then you always notice like you're always shifting the goalpost, right? And I realized, oh wow, like I would eventually hit this goal, right? And it would feel amazing, but that euphoria was only temporary, right? Then my mind quickly shifted to what's the next goal, right? So I'm glad I realized that, and I realized, wow, okay, this isn't sustainable. And I also, this was also around the time like I was really getting into personal development space. And then I realized, wow, this whole time period where I was so extrinsically motivated by time goals, this was in the six human needs psychology. This was unfortunately very much about the need for significance, right? The need to almost like, prove to myself, like, oh, I can do this, right? Hitting these external goals. But then I realized each time, oh, like this is temporary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And that's
temporary.
where like business and investing is contrast that of physical
Mhm.
fitness. Business and investing, yeah, you could in theory just exponentially grow because your connections and your money
Yeah.
magnifies, but physical fitness, you're getting older. Your
Mm,
capacity is gonna go get less and less, and you have to adopt a not complacency around it, but you have to just fall in love with just slightly improving, knowing that your
mm.
overall scores are going down.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great point. So, yeah, it was after a while, I'm noticing, yeah, like I'm training for marathon after marathon, and my joints are starting to hurt, and I'm starting to recover more slowly from my aches and niggles, right? And yeah, it's after a while, you're no longer getting like setting personal records in each with each training block. Definitely part of it. Also, I think the maturation process of realizing there's a lot more than just hitting goals, right? Like, there's a lot more that you can also focus on. For example, like camaraderie, being around others, being around a team, being around a community. I realized that more and more, that was a big reason why I was going out to meet up to run with folks. I realized that, oh, I was actually getting more enjoyment running with the group rather than hitting any type of time goal, right? I was getting more enjoyment from helping someone hit their goal, right? Hit whatever achievement that they're going for. I realized, oh, time went on. But those things made me feel more fulfilled.
Very similar to like money, right? Like
Yeah.
in the beginning, I'm gonna save this or I'm gonna
Mhm.
run 5.5 minute
Yeah.
mile. It's like investing, right? Like I'm saving all this money, but then you find that it's cooler to meet other people along the path and ascend that way too.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, imagine it's what some of us experience is once you hit whatever financial goal you're striving for, and then you realize, okay, how much like happiness and fulfillment does this give me? And then we might realize, oh wow, what makes me feel really good is to be generous, right? Be generous with my money, like to treat my friends, to take a nice dinner or to a nice experience, or to take my family on a vacation, or do something really cool for the grandparents, or just be generous with the money. I think a lot of us we find like great fulfillment in that.
Yeah. The trouble is for most people, when they get to that certain level, call it 2 million,
Yeah.
they're 60 years old, and it's been 30 years since or 20 years, 10 years since they met a new compadre.
Yeah.
And that's the reality, I think, for most. Can't speak for women. Women seem to be better at this than guys
Mm,
are, but for a lot of American males, you don't really meet too many people after the age of 40 or even
yeah.
30.
All the more reason to find avenues where you can meet people, right? But I want to ask you, what's your exercise regimen? Like, what do you like to do?
So we'll get that in the future podcasts. But as far as like meeting people,
Yeah.
your homework assignment is to reach out to this Caroline Gervin. We need to get her on the podcast. And then when we get her on the podcast, what we'll do is we'll have her record a sign for your wife to cheer her on. And then that will be a priceless birthday present that you don't have to
Oh,
buy. It's a good one. That's your homework assignment. And then, yeah, we'll go into my stuff next time in a future
all
podcast.
right.
But
I'm gonna hold you to
yeah. We'll keep it secret for a little bit longer.
it.
All right, guys. See you next time.
Bye.